Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another meal prep / batch cooking video. So this meal prep has 2 brand new recipes, and if you decide you want to try those brand new recipes, the recipe links will be in the description box below. And like always, I hope you guys find some kind of inspiration and motivation in this video to meal prep for yourself and your family. So without further ado, let's jump in the kitchen and let's get started. All right, so like always, we are going to start with breakfast, and I am going to be making some sausage balls. These are delicious. I've been making these since I first started my keto lifestyle. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use 1 pound of sausage, 1 cup of almond flour, 1 cup of cheese, 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a little bit of pepper to taste, and then around a teaspoon of garlic and a teaspoon of onion powder. And then you're just going to go in with your handy dandy hands and mix that up rather well. And then I just lined my cookie sheet with foil and I sprayed it really well. And then you just roll them into little balls. I think I made like 25, 27 little balls, baked them at 350 degrees for around 20 to 25 minutes. I'm telling you, these are delicious. They're super easy to have like a grab and go breakfast. They reheat well. Everybody in my house loves these. My son Tyler's friend came over and he ate so many of them because he just loved them. I promise you, they'll be a hit. Next up, I'm just keeping it simple. So we're just going to be making some simple scrambled eggs. Oscar loves eggs and he likes to have them for the mornings that he works. So I put 10 eggs in that bowl, and then I put 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. The heavy whipping cream just kind of makes them a little bit fluffier. I like to add everything but the bagel seasoning as well as some salt and pepper, but I mean, you can add whatever seasonings you prefer. And then, of course, we're just going to whisk that up. And then I had a skillet preheating on the stove. And that is just some Kerrygold grass-fed butter. That is my absolute favorite. I actually tried ghee for the first time when I went on vacation. I'm not a ghee person. Let me just tell you that. I'll stick with my Kerrygold butter. So I just went ahead and put the eggs in there, and then of course you're just going to stir it up until the eggs are nice and done. I don't make them too done, so that way when Oscar goes to microwave them, they won't be dry. And Oscar's been taking some eggs with those sausage balls. That is the perfect breakfast right there, and they both reheat well. Then next up, we are again keeping it simple. So I am just going to take that pork loin. This is a boneless one and it is pretty darned big. I had to cut that in half to get it to fit in my crock pot. So I did cut off part of the fat, and I know you're probably thinking, Misty, we're doing keto, why are you cutting off the fat? I'm all about the fat, don't get me wrong, but that's a little bit too much fat in my opinion. I want to taste the meat. So, I mean, you can totally leave all the fat on there that you want. I just chose to take some of it off. I did put in there a teaspoon of garlic and then around a cup of chicken broth. I just used the bone broth, as well as I just added salt and pepper because I wasn't for sure if I was going to have to freeze some of this, which I did freeze half of this. And that way, if you only put salt and pepper, you can create whatever pork you want later, whether it be barbecue or whatever flavor you want to turn your pork into later. But I just put that on low and I let that cook all night long. And then this is the easiest way to shred up chicken or pork or beef or whatever. I just found this out and I was like, where have you been all my life? So the hand mixer is the way to go. But this was delicious. Like I said, half of it I froze and then the other half we just ate on. So perfect because it stays simple, it's easy, and like I said, when you only use salt and pepper, you can turn it into anything later. Next up, this is one of the brand new recipes. So this recipe is called Slow Cooker Garlic Chicken Alfredo with Broccoli, and that was just chicken tenders, and I believe that package was a little over 2 pounds. I decided to use those so that way the chicken breasts weren't too big, but those are the ingredients that you're going to use. So I just put in there garlic, and I put that right in there with the chicken with the crock pot. Then in that bowl, I added 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, 1 cup of chicken bone broth, and then that was around a half of a cup of Parmesan cheese. I did go in with some Cajun seasoning. I just used that Tony's, which is delicious. I added some pepper, and then I also went in with some salt, and then you're just going to want to mix that up really well before you pour it into the crock pot. Then you're just going to add that entire bag of broccoli. I think that's like around a 10 or 12 ounce bag of broccoli. I just used the Kirkland organic one that I get at Costco. And then after that, I did add a couple of tablespoons of butter. I just added that right on top of the broccoli. And then I poured that mixture that we made in that bowl over the entire thing. And I did cook my chicken around almost 2 hours before I added everything else because I didn't want my broccoli to be too mushy. But I just threw my lid on there, and then I let that cook for another around hour and a half on high, and it was so good. You guys, you should really try this recipe. So if you're wanting more of a thicker sauce, you may want to add some type of xanthan gum or some kind of thickening agent. But it was really good. Next up, we are going to be making this whole chicken in the air fryer. I've done this several times on my channel, but we can't get enough. It's delicious. You just put the whole entire thing in the air fryer. I took some avocado oil and I gave that baby a good rub down. So good. You want to rub it down on the front side and you want to rub it down on the back side. And make sure you go up and underneath the skin as well, so that way none of it is dry. That way the oil just kind of keeps everything moist. And then, I just kind of manhandled that thing there. But like I said, you want to treat the front side and the back side the same. And then after you're done with that, you're going to want to pick your seasoning of choice. I chose mesquite because we love mesquite. Mesquite is life around our house. That and that Tony seasoning. Make sure you're generous with it though. So the first half hour that you're going to want to cook this, cook the breast down. This is how I do it. I cook the breast down, put it on the air fry mode, and then I cooked it at 350 degrees for 35 minutes because this is a big bird. These birds are from Costco and they're huge. After that is done cooking for the first 35 minutes, flip it over so then the breast side should be up, and then you're going to want to season it again. I do anyway because like I said, I love the seasoning. Put it back in, same temperature, again 35 more minutes, and this baby is going to come out perfect. The outside's going to be nice and crisp, the inside's going to be nice and juicy. I promise you, your family is going to thank you for this. If you don't have an air fryer, I will leave the link to my air fryer down below. I love that thing. I use that thing almost daily. Next up, we are going to be making another brand new recipe. Again, these brand new recipes links will be in the description box below. But this recipe is going to be called Keto White Chocolate Macadamia Cookies. I didn't have macadamia nuts, so we're using almonds. I'll show you what we did. So this all is getting measured by grams. So the first thing you're going to want to do is add 120 grams of almond flour and 16 grams of coconut flour. Around a half a teaspoon of salt. We don't really measure that. We just kind of throw it in. A half a teaspoon of baking soda, as well as 110 to 144 grams of golden erythritol. We didn't have enough of the golden, so we used some of the brown swerve, and we put around 140 grams in there. And then it calls for 1 teaspoon of molasses. We didn't have any, so we used a teaspoon of sugar-free maple syrup, 150 grams of butter, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1 egg. And then we gave that a good stir. And now we're just going to add in the white chocolate chips. We found those Lily white chocolate chips at Fry's. However, I did find them at my Walmart recently as well. So those are just almonds that we ended up just chopping up ourselves. And that's what we ended up adding since we didn't have macadamia nuts. And let me tell you, they worked out perfectly. This was delicious. So I just lined my cookie sheet with parchment paper. I prefer parchment paper. Parchment paper is life in the keto world because nothing sticks to it. So as you see, we just kind of made them into decent sized cookies. And I love how they have so many white chocolate chips and almonds in there. Look at all those. So good. We baked these at 350 degrees, and these took around 13-14 minutes to bake, but obviously just watch yours because every oven is different. These were so good. So I think what you see kind of coming out of the cookie is probably the maple syrup, but it doesn't even matter. This was a humongous hit with my family. If you guys enjoyed those cookies before keto days, definitely give this recipe a try. It is worth the time to make it. Delicious and such a great dessert. So this concludes this week's meal prep. I hope you guys got some ideas to try out some new recipes for your ketogenic lifestyle. Also remember, meal prepping doesn't have to be difficult, and meal prepping doesn't have to be huge. Every little bit that you do matters. I mean, it's going to make a huge difference for you during the week, even if it's just a few things. So always remember that. It doesn't have to be this big, massive meal prep. I've even been doing smaller meal preps myself and then just meal prepping a couple times a week instead of just once a week. That's what's working for me and my lifestyle right now. But I'm going to leave my Instagram in the description box below. Don't forget to tag me. Let me know what you're making. Let me know if you tried any of these recipes. And other than that, I think that's all I have for you guys. Like always, I'm praying for you, your family, and your country. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And don't forget to go out there and make today even better than yesterday. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.
On my own, but I don't know why you hit the road, but you don't realize I won't look back when you're around.